Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Club at 22, a Rangers podcast. Now, before I introduce my guests, and we discuss the upcoming Old Firm League Cup semi-final. No, it's not a League Cup semi-final. It's a Scottish Cup semi-final. Perfect start by me. Yes, before I introduce those two who you can hear in the background, I would like to ask the listeners to like and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to support the channel to get to the next level, you can also join as little as 99p. And we would also like to thank all our channel members. You can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the coffee buying member legendship via buymeacoffee.com. And we'd also like to thank all our coffee buying membership legends. All the links in this description are in the podcast below. So let's get to them. First up, Mr. Alistair Pearson, how are you doing today?
I was going to say it's the weekends here and we get to see Rangers, but I don't know if that's a good thing, Scotia. I know you just flashed up Stevie T. That's much appreciated. Thank you very much on behalf of all the boys here. But yes, the weekend is here, Scotia. It's the bank holiday on Monday as well, so that's a positive. I'll try not to be negative in this podcast tonight, but it'll be difficult.
What you Ali, the negative podcaster that you are? No. No, I did see that as well from Stevie T. I said to you lads before, I tuned in and it was like blank air as I'm waiting for both yous to join into the wee green room, as we'll call it a better name than the green room, but the wee bit that we go into, and Stevie T, absolutely fantastic. But anyway, next up is Mr. Scott Carney, Podfather.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, Stevie T, thank you very much, mate. Yeah, absolute mental man. I don't know when you did that, but it must have been a while ago before we came on air, so I really do appreciate that. It's Scottish Cup semi-final weekend and it's an Old Firm. Let's try our best, gentlemen. Let's try our best. I suppose the feeling will come. I've got no doubt about it. It will end up happening to you, but right now it seems like a pretty massive mountain that's in front of us. But anyway, before we go any further, just a massive shout out to Mr. Senior Haymarch, who is 66th birthday today. Many happy returns to you from all of us here at Club at 22, and to Senior Haymarch, Junior Haymarch even. Get better soon, mate. Hope to see you very, very soon. We're all thinking about you, mate. So, yeah, we'll hopefully have you back before long, mate. And Ali's assured me he'll bring you content on Sunday, mate, so no worries there.
Cheers, Carney. You've done an alley and you've stole like my wee next bit in the segment.
Sorry, mate.
Going to do. So, no, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing that. The Haymarchers, appreciate it. Massive fans of the podcast, as you know, and let's get Ryan back shortly because he can bring the positivity or some sort of evity into the proceedings. Before we get on to the Old Firm game on Sunday, we're going to speak about some of the news that came out this week, or not news, some of the things that you get in these emails of goal of the season, player of the season. Listeners, get your comments in. Give us your opinions. We'll start with goal of the season. There's 10 goals to pick from. So you've got Cholak versus PSV on the 16th of August in 2022. You've got Lawrence versus Hibs 4 days later. And I remember this game very vividly. Lundstrom gets sent off. Morelos gets sent off. Got that one. You've got Tillman v Motherwell. 2 months later, you've got Morelos v Hibs. You've got Kent v Celtic. You've got Scala v Dundee United. You've got Tillman v Motherwell. And then you've also got, what else have we got? Cantwell, Arfield and Tav. So Tav against Celtic. And then the other two against St Mirren. So, boys, I'll come to you first, Scott. What are your thoughts on this?
It's quite an extensive list for goal of the season. That's what I thought. I thought, my goodness, there's plenty of them there to get into. I would be lying if I'm going to sit here and say that I've watched them all back because I haven't. I haven't done that, but I think there's a few front runners for me. I think Tillman's has got to be considered, but for me, it has to be James Tavernier's free kick at against Celtic. And the reason that I'm probably picking that more than anything is because it's one of those goals that will get forgotten in time because the way the result went. It's a fantastic free kick from Tav. I know we've seen ones before. The one most similar to that was probably against Dundee United at Tannadice, which probably just beats this, probably because of the distance that it was from. But yeah, Tav's free kick, I think, was the goal of the season. Well, so far, obviously, we've still got the rest of the season to go. Who knows what might happen? But it's a superb free kick. It really is a superb free kick, and it is a shame. It's a shame that it'll get lost in time, that goal, because it's not one of the ones that you watch that you'll remember fondly because of the result. I suppose, and there's many like them. There's many goals like that we've scored absolute crackers against them, and they've been lost kind of in time due to the result not being a positive one. So, but for me, so far this season, from what I've seen, it has to be James Tavernier's free kick.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I've wrote down, like I have sat down today and looked at all of them, just watching the highlights of them, not watching like massive builds up to the goals. And all of that one I've put on is a fantastic free kick, and then it finished in a 3-2 defeat. That's not ideal. I think that's always the thing you come back to. I remember come back to, and I apologise, Ali, if this is one of your ones, but Arfield's goal, which is in the conversation against St Mirren, I thought that was a lovely goal, well worked team goal, but it's not the goal you remember. You know, team goals that you remember, team goal like we scored against Galatasaray. What's that, about 4 years back now? That's the type of team goal you remember, not so much that one. Tav's goal, yes, probably one of the picks. Perhaps not mine. There's a few there that I completely forgotten about. I'm not going to lie. Ali, is there any there that I kind of ran through that you maybe forgot about?
Slim pickings, to be honest, this season. I'd go with Carney. If I was being blatantly honest, I'd go with Carney. Tav to hit that free kick. No Rangers fans there. Away at Parkhead to go one each to put his back in it. That's one for me. The only other ones that stand out is myself and Ryan was there. Away at Fir Park when Tillman goes on that mazy run, grabs the game by the scruff of the neck. What he should do this Sunday, and hopefully he does do this Sunday. This is what Tillman should be doing more often. It was a fantastic goal by him and just showed the ability he has. So I can't go because, well, I would have picked what Carney's picked, but to be a bit different, I'll go with Malik Tillman because I thought that was a fantastic goal. And like I say again, he's got ability to do that. I just want to see him do it in big games.
Do you know what I think as well, though? Even Lawrence's goal, that seems like a million years ago, doesn't it? Like that goal seems
Who's Tom
like
Lawrence?
Exactly. That's what I mean. It feels like it was a lifetime ago. Like you kind of forget that he was playing for us at the start of this season. So again, another one. It's just that you can sum up our season by an injury when him. But I just there when I was thinking about it, I was like, God, that seems like forever ago.
Yeah, because see that Tillman goal, right? That was one of the. I think there's three. No, there's two. I know Gio was still here. Gio was still here at that point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Beale hadn't come back in, right? But that was after 2 months. We'd conceded 22 goals within about a space of 2 months between that and the last goal. Because we had the 2 Liverpool games, we had the Celtic game, we had the Napoli game, we had the Ajax game. Oh no, aye. So it was like terrible. I think you're going like, is that it? Is that it? We've had a
Scotia. I take it Curry wasn't listening to you when you were going about that Arfield goal. Must have.
Yeah, that was. That is included, does it not?
Surely it is included. Aye. That's number. I think that came as number 10, but I included it as number 9. No, it came as number 9, but I included it as number 10 because Cantwell's goal was before that. Something like that, anyway. But these aren't either the goals I'm choosing. I'm choosing my favourite goal anyway. Would have been Sakala's against Dundee United.
Yeah.
You remember that? That was an incredible goal because it was. I think it was the way that was it Ryan Jack had a wee dummy, not a dummy head. He headed the ball, but he maybe missed the ball. Done it, and Sakala struck that cleanly. This is the kind of what Sakala can do at times. It's 2 times out of 10, unfortunately. But I thought that was a really good goal. You look at some of them. Yeah, Ali, you said it. Slim pickings, very slim pickings for what we're kind of wanting this season, unfortunately. But any goals in particular, Carney, that you think we're maybe missing one? I think there's one that's in the shout that I reckon shouldn't be, and one that isn't that should be.
Not off the top of my head, mate. I can't think of any in particular that probably haven't been included. But look, this has been one of those seasons that you maybe don't want to remember it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're getting to the point where you're like, do I want to remember this season? So I would be hard pushed, mate, to try and pick another one. Let me think. With a good team goal, I think that Cantwell scored, or is that the one that's been included? Am I talking about that one? Was that the team goal that Cantwell kind of fired it into the top of the net at Ibrox? Who were we playing? That was recently.
No, the St Mirren one was.
That was a good.
Right, that was a good goal. No, he's included. He's included in that. Yeah, but
yeah,
I think in that same game, Arfield's goal was better. I thought that Cantwell slipped him in.
I can't think of one. I can't think of another one. What's yours? What's the ones you were on about?
Right. Well, one of the goals that are in there is Morelos' goal against Hibs. Now, the way that I think Rangers have put it out is they're doing it in chronological order. So the only way that I can look at that is that the goal again, Beale's first game when Morelos scored it.
Oh, right,
Morelos scores the winner. Morelos scores the winner, but it's a tap-in. Now, Tillman does really well for this, but that's not a goal of the season for me for Morelos tapping that in, unless I'm completely misguided, Ali. I don't know if you can help me there, but
not really. No.
If that's the Morelos,
I don't get a mug about goal of the season this year, honestly.
Nah. Well, wait till we
Stick
get on
that
to
right
the
in
season. We've got player of the season to come to yet, mate. Don't worry. So I'll look at that one and go like, is that really a goal of the season? You're listening, Carney, no?
Oh, were you talking to me? Sorry.
I was.
No, I don't. I mean, probably not, no, but again, how many more is there left to pick from? I don't know why the list had to be as big as it was, but it's one of those things, mate. I think we all, well, I can get why Sakala's is yours is Sakala. It was a fantastic goal by Sakala, but I don't think James Tavernier can be denied that for that free kick.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. In fact, let's move on to keep the Tav, and we'll go on to the player of the season. And this is for me, this is a wee bit not concerned, but a wee bit, you can't really judge it because we'll probably have a better idea, like us at Club at 22, end of the season, all games finished, everything's won, everything's lost. We can then sit back and go, here's your player of the season. Right now, Rangers have decided to put out, which I can understand why they've done so, 3 players on the shortlist for player of the season this year, and we'll start by James Tavernier. Carney, come to you. Deserving to be in it? Give us your opinion.
Who else are you going to pick? It's one of those ones that I just don't think they should have bothered, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like, you can't really have a player of the season considering where we are in the league, for sure. I mean, we've not won anything yet this season, so it's a weird one for me. But there's not really many to pick from, and I think the injury list that we've had throughout the season has stopped anybody having a real consistent run of form, and everybody in that team has took criticism at one point or another. Again, Ali, I'm very cautious that I'm going to steal probably what you say here. I can't believe Connor Goldson's not listed on that. I honestly can't believe why Goldson wouldn't be considered. I know we've not been kind of tight at the back and very good defensively at times, but I think he's been our most consistent performer because, especially now that he's been out the team for so long, that you see how much you miss him when he isn't there. I don't know if I could fully say that about the rest of the nominees, because I say that at points their form has been completely off the window, and the questions of like even Tillman being included, with people going back and forward about that, about whether we should be signing him, whether we should be committing to that. Committing to that amount of money to him. So for me, yeah, it's a strange one. If I had to pick out of the 3, my goodness, man, best of a bad bunch, really. And Probably Barisic, based on his assists that he's had and the fact that it would rub Ryan up the wrong way. But that's probably it. That's probably the only thing that I could say. I mean, Tav's stats have been good, but his form defensively is it's diabolical. It really is. So it's tough, mate. It's a really tough one. If I was hard pushed, I would pick Goldson, but if I had to pick out that list, I would pick Barisic.
Right. It's interesting you bring up Goldson there. I would say Goldson has been the player of the year by omission. He's like, because he's not played, everyone's going like, oh, we miss Goldson. I've not actually looked at the stats and how many games Goldson's actually played, but I wrote that down while you were speaking, like Goldson player of the year by omission, because he's not been there and we keep on speaking about, oh, we miss him. He probably would. Of the three that have been picked, I'll come to you. Well, we will come back to discuss them for the upcoming game as well. But out of the three of them, any surprises?
Slim pickings. Same with Carney. I'd have put Goldson on that list. But you'll come on to young player this season as well, Scotia, of who's on that list. So,
Well,
if you're not, then I'm going to say the guy I might have picked, I'm not going to pick because I have to pick him for young player of the season because the other two, to me, don't really count because one of them hasn't really played for us. The other one was chucked into deep end, who done well at the beginning of the season, Leon King. But in terms of the guys, Tav was getting slaughtered earlier on the season. Remember that? And folk were saying drop him. I think he's had a decent end to the season.
When does Tav not get slaughtered though?
No, I know, but
Tav
I think
always gets slaughtered.
But I think he's had a decent end to the end of the season. Tillman, I think he's been consistent in meaningless games, if you want to say that. When it comes to big games, he's not really showed up, to be honest. I'd get it Barisic. He's probably the most consistent out of them all, to be honest, without really doing much to set the header afire, to be honest. It's slim picking, Scotia. And young player this season, I get it Tillman, because it's Tillman, King, or Devine. Devine's played about one game for us or something.
Yeah,
King,
ridiculous.
I felt sorry for King at the beginning of the season. I thought he'd done well, but you could tell he fell away at the end there. So it'd need to be Tillman for that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best player of the year awards that we're ever going to have at Rangers. I have not seen any emails out about it yet, but it's going to cost a fair few pennies to go along to it, and you're looking at three players, one of which I remember going back to sort of January time. I thought two of them that would be in it are in it. Tav for me was not a wee bit of a surprise because he started to come onto a game, but I would say that Tav's season is the kind of mirror image of Barisic's in terms of Barisic started the season pretty well, I thought. And that, like we were discussing this on pods this year, speaking like, oh no, Barisic's been playing well. He's been our most consistent player. And this is while Gio was still here before Beale came in. And I can understand why Barisic is there. I mean, that's what he's got: 13 assists, 2 goals, 44 appearances. Tav leading the goal scoring charts again, that's a worry. We'll come on to that. He's put on 17 goals so far this season. But it does kind of just prove, Carney, that we're relying on our two fullbacks and a 20-year-old first team for our first season that he's having in the full team game.
I think it's just the way the season's went, mate. To be honest, I think that's what's happened. And as again I mentioned before, mate, with the injuries, it's what's happened. We're going to continue to see Tav and Barisic been relied on because of the way that we choose to play football at times, and especially the way we were under Beale, Gio even. I think going into next season, if Beale decides to change the way that he wants to play football, then possibly we might see a difference. We might see a difference in it. But I mean, it just is what it is, mate. It is what it is. It's one of those. I don't understand why it has to happen. I don't understand why they have to do it. Can we move on to a positive subject, mate? Can we put us in the bin?
Colin Ewart. Well, there's a positive subject. Colin Ewart is becoming YouTube member. That's positive. No, I was going to keep with them for a wee bit because I was going to ask for without revealing your team. You reckon any of them will start? Come to you, Ali. Borna, Tav, Tillman. Are they in your team for the weekend?
All three will start.
Yeah, all three will start. Well, two definitely. Barisic and Tav, that's a given. That's even you asked me that. Tillman, it's a toss-up between him and Sakala, let's be honest, but I think Tillman will be there. I'll be very surprised if we don't all name the same team for Sunday. We'll come on to it. There's one guy I don't think should be on the team, but he will be there. But anyway, we'll come on to it.
Well, no, me and Carney were actually speaking, and I've got an interesting one. I always have sort of interesting team selections. But before we get on to that, we're all going to the cup final, or the semi-final of the cup at the weekend. Carney, you
doing smashingly well tonight, Scotia. So yeah, mate. Like we're a League Cup semi-final and the Scottish Cup final, right? Okay.
No worries. No, you managed to get a ticket. The MyJars points coming down for you. You managed to get one. Decent seat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, decent seat for me, mate. Aye, I'm pretty chuffed at that, mate. To be honest, I didn't think I was going to get one this time round, but no, I'm delighted that I've managed to get a ticket. But it's one of those ones, mate. Well, I will feel different about it tomorrow. I'll feel different about the kind of build up towards it, mate. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to it as much as I possibly can just now. I don't like going to Hampden, but I say I'm probably going down, getting to the point where I'm like Ali's laws of averages thing right now, that I'm like, surely something must fall in our favour at some point. It must happen, but yeah, it's a strange one, mate. Because right now it's win or bust. It's absolutely win or bust for our season. We've got to try and salvage something from this season, because there's still a pretty sour taste in the fans' mouths following on from Sunday's showing at Pittodrie. So the players have probably got a point to prove to themselves, and I think I don't like saying things like this, but it's kind of true. I think they owe us one. For the support that we've shown them this season. So, I look forward to it as much as I can. Hate going to Hampden, but it is what it is. It is what it is, mate. Thanks very much, Ian. Appreciate that, mate. Yeah, Ali tried to do it at the same time as me. It's by causing everybody to get epilepsy fits there. Yes, Ian, thanks very much, mate. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, much appreciated, Ian. Yeah, Ali, your thoughts? I think you've got the best seat out of all of us, I would imagine.
Depends what you call a good seat. I'm in the north stand where my seat is good, but I'm down near the front. I'm row D, so I don't know if I've been that far down at Hampden before, but yeah.
I have sat in the corner, mate, of the west stand towards the south stand. I've sat there on row B. That is officially the worst seat in Hampden. I was just staring a security guard in the face the whole way through the game, just like that. Right. This is brilliant, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, where it is, it's similar to where I sat Ibrox pretty much, but it's down the front, so I thought it'll be all right for 1.5, to be honest. But
it's nowhere near similar to where you see.
It's just off the 18-yard box, so it is in terms of that kind of view.
You're up in the club deck. All right, okay.
I know that, honestly. But no, it doesn't matter. Where you sit, Hampden doesn't matter, Scotia. You get to really see one half, and the other half you're listening out for noises in the crowd, to be honest, to see if we score on that. But Hampden is what Hampden is. It's a dump, let's be honest about it. We don't like going there. Celtic fans, they don't like going there either. Obviously Falkirk, Inverness play tomorrow. It was a bit of rain today, so whether the pitch will cut up tomorrow, be interesting to see. But I'm glad I'll be there, obviously, and I'll support the team. It's down to the players to do the talking on the park instead of this talking off the park. It's time to do it on the park for me.
Can I ask a question? I mean, no disrespect here, right, to the two teams playing tomorrow, right? They're not going to fill that stadium tomorrow.
No, I'd move them.
That game could have been moved to somewhere else. And I know that's like it's like kind of looking down on the rest of Scottish football, but you know what I mean. In order to try and make more of a spectacle of Sunday, to really, it's a prize game. It's one of those games that people will watch all over the world on Sunday, and we could end up playing it on a cow field. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, it's not. They're not. I mean, I don't even know what their tickets are, or what they. I mean, I would imagine they've sold maybe 20,000 of them, maybe something like that.
If that,
in terms of
if that,
if that. Do you know what I mean? So I again, it's probably me having, what's the words I'm looking for? Delusions of grandeur. Is that the right thing to say about being a Rangers fan? But I was just like, they could have moved it, like, surely.
Yeah, but they would fling it back to you, Carney, and go, with these guys that play for these teams, this is their dream, if you want to say, to play
yes,
at
true.
Hampden
True as well.
in a semi-final, to get to a final. And if you move it to let's say a Tynecastle, which would be good, it's maybe not the same buzz for them. I agree, I would move it. It would look better on the telly, but for these guys playing tomorrow, it's I don't think they'll agree with us, to be honest.
No, they won't.
Of
course they won't. No, yeah. Of course they won't.
We've had that conversation before, though, for other cup finals, or like in the semis, where, like, see if Hibs and Hearts get drawn against each other. Put it to Murrayfield, stuff like that. They don't do.
Same with the women's one. Why was the women's one played there last week? I mean, how many people were there? About 1,000 or something.
Again, well, to be fair,
it's the same thing.
I know
that's promoting that. Yeah. So I kind of get that, but like, if Hearts and Hibs are playing each other, why both Hearts and Hibs fans come all the way across to Glasgow when you've got a perfectly good stadium in Murrayfield, play in? Well, I'm doing very well tonight, am
I do get that argument as well. Like, Murrayfield could be utilised more, especially if there's not.
I know you then pay more money to the Scottish Rugby Association or the Scottish Rugby Union, whatever they're called, but still.
Better than paying Doncaster's wages, though, is it not?
Aye, possibly. But anyway, right, that'll probably do us, because we need to be having a wee chat from our sponsors, Carney.
Yes, mate. You want me to do it for you?
No, I can do it.
Willie sits there having a wee beer.
Are you sure you don't want me to do it for you?
Zero.
I'm all right. Don't you worry.
I want a can of Diet Coke, mate.
It's time to mind your manholes with Manscaped. Everyone's aware by now that nose hair are a major turn-off. That's why Manscaped upgraded their brand new Weed Whacker 2.0 with improved blades and motor. You can feel the power of nasty nose hair annihilation in the palm of your hands. Save money and attack your nose and ear hairs by going to manscaped.com and using the code CLUBAT22 to get 22% off and free shipping. Our friends over at Manscaped are helping you enjoy spring's fresh air by using the Weed Whacker 2.0 and all your face hole hair. Also, the Weed Whacker 2.0 will be in all Manscaped tools sets, including the Platinum Package 4.0 and the Performance Package 4.0. So no matter what your kit will you pick, you will receive the new Weed Whacker 2.0 ear trimmer. Let's face it, long nose hair is a major turn-off. Let Manscaped be part of your daily grooming routine, ensuring no hair is ever out of place. It's time to level up your groom game and save 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CLUBAT22 at manscaped.com. From below to up top, get the best in grooming at Manscaped shop. Your nose, ears, and body and balls as well will also thank you.
Well done, Scotia, mate. I did not expect you to get through that. I did not expect you to get through that.
Oh, I got through it. I got through it indeed. So, guys, we've kind of almost reached the half-hour mark, and I was thinking I'm going to flip things around a wee bit this podcast, because usually we leave the teams and scores to the very end of the podcast.
What alleyways you take me down here?
No. Don't you worry, Ali. I'll be coming at you first, because I'm going to flip it around before we get to the press conference. Before we get to anything, Ali, right now I'm going to ask you for your team for the game, not your score, just your team for the game.
Right, this is what I think Beale's going to play. McGregor in goal, a back four at Tav. Goldson has to come back, and see if Goldson's get one leg or something tomorrow. He's got to play. He's got to play.
I don't care if only his toe is fit tomorrow and Sunday. He fucking plays.
He's the guy that organises that back line, and we need somebody to organise it. So Goldson, John Souttar for me, Ben Davies at bomb scale at the moment, and
do you think he'll play? Do you think he'll play Souttar?
It's 50-50, Karen. The only argument I've got for Ben Davies is he's naturally left-sided, and John Souttar isn't.
Yeah.
I just want a bit of a no-nonsense defender beside Goldson, and I think Souttar is, but he can play with the ball at his feet. Yeah, he didn't look comfortable at Livingston, but Souttar for me. Barisic, again, that's a no-brainer. He's never playing Yilmaz. Midfield for me, I want to play Lundstrom, right? I've said my piece in Lundstrom. I'm done in Lundstrom. But then I'm looking at the bench going, who else do I play? Kamara, who's been, something seen in months. Arfield, folks say, but I think Arfield's better coming off the bench. So I think it's probably got to be Lundstrom, to be honest. So Lundstrom, Raskin, Cantwell, Morelos through the middle. I was humming and hawing with Sakala. I think he'll play Tillman instead of Sakala. And Ryan Kent. I know a lot of folk in the comments will come out and say, now Ryan Kent should be near the Rangers team because he's not going to be there next season. But I would fling the argument back and go, who do you play? Do you play a Scott Wright? Do you play a Rabbi Matondo? Are they going to offer more? Not for me. So Ryan Kent, that is my team, Scotia. You want a score or it's just a team at the moment?
No, it's just a team at the moment. We're only halfway through.
Well, that's my team.
The reason I wanted to do this is because an awful lot of the time we give our teams and then I would look at other people's teams, like Carney might say a team and I go like, all right, I get where he's coming from. So I want to give people the opportunity to do that, and I want to give the listeners an opportunity and the viewers an opportunity to get their teams in and tell us why we're wrong and why they're right, kind of thing, and why you're definitely wrong, Alistair. So Carney, come to you next.
Oh, it's tough, man. McGregor, Tav. I think if Goldson is fit and comes back, I think he'll play. Thank you very much, Flying Scotsman. The Trying Scotsman, even the Flying Scotsman. What's the Flying Scotsman? Is that a Taylor dance or something?
It's a train.
Oh, no, it's a train. It's a train.
It's a big steam engine.
I think if Goldson comes back, I think he'll play Davis. I really do. I think he'll think that Davis will be better with Goldson beside him. Would I play Souttar there? It's really tough. It's a really tough decision. I think Davis has been a bit of a bomb scare, but I think Goldson makes the difference. So I'll say Davis. Barisic. It will be Lundstrom. it just will be. No matter what, it will be Lundstrom. Raskin, Cantwell, Tillman, Morelos, and Ryan Kent. And I know everybody will come in and say, why are you picking Ryan Kent? I don't have a debate with a guy that left a comment, I think, on the last pod that we're talking about and argued about Sakala's stats. And I get it. Look, I completely understand with Sakala's stats. But he's too erratic and he's not reliable. And I'm not saying Ryan Kent is. I'm not saying that he's definitely going to be the answer. And he would definitely have scored that 1-on-1 against Aberdeen. I'm not saying that. But in terms of pure ability, Ryan Kent is a better player. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. He just is a better player. He's had a couple of games out, so hopefully there's a wee bit of freshness about him. So I would play Ryan Kent, and I don't think there's any danger that if Ryan Kent's 80% fit, I think Beale plays him anyway. So that would be my team.
Aye, stats. Who said it best? Ebbe Scodville back in the early 2000s, or around about 2000. Ebbe Scodville put about stats about the best way about mini skirts and starts. It shows you the good bits, but not everything, kind of thing. Do you remember that? The old Aberdeen manager.
What?
Do you not remember that? Do you not remember that comment that he made?
No, don't, mate.
You don't remember? Don't. Like, folk in the comments must remember Ebbe Scodville, Aberdeen manager at the time, said miniskirts, they give you the best impression, but they hide all the good bits or something like that. It was a ridiculous comment that he made. Fantastic.
This is another. Sorry, Scotia. This is another point as well about Sakala. Why is he always offside? Why is he always offside? I don't think he understands the offside rule, to be completely honest.
The only thing with Sakala, I would say, Carney, is the laws of averages with Sakala is he's probably due to have a good game, actually.
He probably is, yes. Yes, he probably is. I know. Yeah, I get that, mate. I do.
Like Sakala, I had this conversation with you, Carney, actually. Like, I was still struggling. Would I play Sakala for this game? Would I not? I've kind of made up my mind that I'm not starting him because I think he's going to be better off the bench. So I'll give you my team. The only reason I'm giving you my team right now is because this player wasn't mentioned. One of the players that I'm
Matondo.
mentioned. Oh no, my team's going to be McGregor, Tav, Goldson, Suter, Borna, Raskin, Lundstrom, Cantwell, Tillman, Morelos, and Cholak.
Cholak's injured.
I think he is injured. Scotia.
Yeah, see, that's what he didn't mention him. Is he still out? I was asking you beforehand, Carney.
I thought you were Scotia. I honestly thought you were going to hit us with Hadji there, and I was going to just walk off this podcast.
No, I'm not that bad, mate. Not that bad. But no, I was going for that one. If Cholak is still injured, then it will be. That will be.
I think he will.
For.
I think he will be injured. Yeah, I think he
didn't say he was back in training. He only said the 3 guys that were back, or 4 that were back in training was.
There was that. Let's go.
Sorry, I'll let you come to a press conference.
No, it's not. No, what I was hoping was we could do this with the press conference. All he said is on the injury update, which is all anyone listens to the press conferences these days, was that Lowry was back in training. Goldson, Kent, and
Scott
Wright had played, and he also said that Adam Devine had a chance of making it, but he needs to train again. Like Adam Devine will only be there as a kind of cover for Tav if it needs to be. So the fact that he didn't mention Cholak there, I was like, let's do that. But no, it was Ali, come to it. Positive news and injury updates. A weird one though, be Helander though, actually, as well. And speaking about injuries, weird one.
Yeah. It's the guys we thought would be back. Reading between the lines, Kent and Goldson will play. I think he did say that he's to have a look at them afterwards, but they'll play even if they're at 80% fit. Play them. Scott Wright. I think Scott Wright's a good option off the bench at Hampden. He's impacted Hampden a couple of times for us, so I think he's a decent option. The only thing I would say in Beale sometimes is they told us last week Scott Wright was the only guy back available. And we went and looked at the team. And I was like, "What's Scott Wright?" So,
do you not think?
For all I know, Scotia Cholak Wright, I'll never know.
Do you not think this? Yeah, go mate. Go for it.
Oh no, on you go.
I think the press conference this time round was much more subdued. I thought he was much more tamer than he usually is with his words. He wasn't as fly off the handle with certain words today. I felt like he was keeping quite a lot close to his chest, which the only thing that I can presume from that is that we've had an emergency loan signing for Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne to come play for us, so we actually win on Sunday. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and the thing on Haaland, Scotia, I was actually quite happy that somebody asked about Haaland because you forget about Haaland.
He's just gone.
And apparently he's seen a specialist because he's got an injury that's only, what was the words? It's something unique to him. I was like, Chris, that's the only guy to ever have this in the world. That just sums us up, doesn't it? We've got a player that has an injury that nobody else in the world has. But it doesn't matter with Haaland because his contract's at the end of the season. We're not going to see him. So
no.
It doesn't really matter, to be honest. But the guys that are available, Lowry, will he make the bench? I don't know, possibly. But Kent Gold, some of the ones I think most folk were looking at, will he be available?
I mean, sorry, look at Aldo's team. I mean, you'd need to knock me down. You'd need to pick me up, even if
Yilmaz and Matondo. It's quite attacking, no?
It's very attacking, very, very attacking. I wasn't
really going to touch on Yilmaz because obviously Ryan's not here to defend his boy. But I don't know about you, but there's a wee bit of worries around Yilmaz for me as well. The fact that he's not really getting selected by Beale, wasn't really getting selected by Gio. And now I understand he was obviously out injured for a large section of the period that Gio was there. But even up until then, it's like I think I said. Well, the last time we played Celtic in a cup game, I said I expect this Yilmaz to play on the left-hand side over Borna. Right now, Scotia, not a chance.
See if we don't see Yilmaz next Sunday against Aberdeen and moving forward, then I'm worried as well. But if we don't see him against Aberdeen on Sunday, yes, I don't think he has a future at Rangers next season. I think they'll look to move him on along with other players, but he's got the opportunity next Sunday to play different players after this game. So we'll see what happens then.
Aye. Carney, your thoughts on that?
I think he's away. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think he'll be here. I don't think Bill fancies him at all. I really don't. I mean, has he had an opportunity really to play him? Maybe. Yeah, there's an argument that he maybe has, but Barisic has been doing. I mean, okay. I don't want. I'm acting like he's been tremendous. He hasn't been tremendous.
He's one of the players this season.
But so am I, mate, and I've not. Like so am I, like like. Do you know what I mean? We all are. So I think, but with Yilmaz, there's something just seems off with it. I don't know what it is. Something about it's just not quite right, and it's a lot of money that we put into this. And I think it was in Heart and Hand that I think it was David Edgar that made the point that he said it was Ross Wilson and Stuart Robertson that were kind of singing the praises about Yilmaz when we signed them, and they're not there anymore. So I don't know. It's a dodgy one. But I would agree with Ali. See if we don't see him going forward after this weekend, then or maybe not next weekend, because I would think I know we're not going to win the league, but it's not mathematically impossible yet. But until that is, then I would expect him after that to see him. I would expect to see a lot of players come in. I'd expect to see Scott Wright get a run in the team. I'd expect to see Matondo get a run in the team. I'd expect to see Devine get a run in the team. King, players like that, players that are on the fringes, and to see if they're going to be able to cut the mustard for next season. I would expect that, but it's just something doesn't sit right with the whole Yilmaz situation.
Yeah, that's an interesting one actually when you say that, because we've got a maximum of 7 games that we can play from now until the end of the season. 7 games, and then the way I look at that as well is like, see if you start doing that, does that then shrug off a player like Tillman? Because I still don't think he's kind of got this. He's the one that's going to make the decision, Tillman, in terms of is he going to come to Rangers? Is he not? I know there's been an awful lot of discussion recently on Rangers Twitter and Rangers social media, stuff like that about him. So it's going to be interesting. These games aren't really dead rubbers, and I think I pulled when Beale had come in and pulled the comment about Rangers managers that have come in halfway through a season and how they've done against Celtic. Beale's kind of getting to the stage where he could be in Coutinho levels of what have you done against Celtic coming halfway through a season. You know, Gio won the semi-final and then got a cup. So this is massive for Beale, I think.
I think it's massive. It's always going to be massive. It's sorry, quickly, John. Thank you very much, mate, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for your donation, mate. Really do appreciate that. But I think every game's massive for Beale right now. The season hasn't went the way that we expected it to, and every game seems to be kind of mounding up in itself. And because we have came off the back of Sunday and it was so poor on Sunday that we are expecting a reaction. But I think I'm not one that's going to be judging Beale as of the end of this season. I don't think it's really fair to. There's now been a lot of changes at the club since he's arrived in terms of board level. And I think once the players are moved on, he hopes to move on, and the positive conversations with the players that he's had hopefully come to fruition, and we do sign them and we get to see them. We're all excited by them. Then I think maybe Christmas time next year, we'll see where we stand at that point. Throwing him in with Coutinho, I'm like, I think he's slightly a better manager than Coutinho, but I get where you're coming from. I do get where you're coming from. The lack of success.
All I was talking about is those stats. Like I'd mentioned those.
Yeah, the lack of success against Celtic is not great. It isn't great. So it's a task on his hands, but as I say, I'm not for one that thinks if we get beaten Sunday that he has to go. I think it will be very disappointing if we don't win on Sunday. But as I always am when we lose if we were to lose an Old Firm, but you can't, in my opinion, you can't judge him until next year. Give him this summer and see what he does.
No, I know what you mean. I don't like doing it, but you just need to ask these questions. And Ali, we've not really touched on the team we're playing because we don't really want to speak about them, but they have kind of, I wouldn't say they're getting a wee bit leggy. I think you could see that over the last couple of games if you've watched any of them. But they're going for a treble, which will take them to, is it 52 or 53 major? They're closing in on us. That's the way I look at it. They're closing in on us too quickly.
Yeah, and thanks, Billy McWilter as well. Thanks for the donation. That's much appreciated. I don't look into the result last week, Scotia. I think they arrested half their team last week because they know this is coming up. If you're them, you've got a chance to really end our season completely, and they've got a chance to win a treble as well. So they'll be up for it. They'll be really up for it, and they always are up for it when they've played us this season. You know what they're like? They come out of traps. Last game was the first time we actually come out and try to match them, and did well. Just individual mistakes has let us down in that last game. But
and a refereeing blunder.
Yes.
Blunder. Don't forget that. We need to put pressure on the refs as well, mate. Remember that?
Yes. Well, we've got Willie Gollum. That's
no.
So we'll come on to that anyway. But no, I've not looked at their team, Scotia, in terms of injuries. I would think Hatate probably comes back in, who didn't play in the last game. I would have thought he'd be back.
No.
Is he
Sorry,
not?
Ali, I've not. I didn't listen to it, but I think he did say that Hatate, Jota, and Abada are all going to be fit for it. At least that's what I read from like a wee. I didn't listen to it, but I just seen like a wee snippet.
I mean,
they'll be back.
Their team pretty much picks itself, to be honest. We know their front line, their midfield, Hatate will go back in. Their back line picks itself. So we know what we're up against Celtic Scotia. It's just we need to be up for it, but they will be up for it, because if you flip the script and we were in their shoes, we'd want to put the sword in, and you'd be buzzing going. No wonder they're confident, Scotia, and I'd be the exact same if I was in their shoes. I'd be confident too going there. But just because they've won the League Cup and all that, doesn't mean they're going to take the foot off the gas against us. He'll have them wound up to go and put a knife into us on Sunday, but we need to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, Carney, hopefully we will, because I mean, I'm saying this with no disrespect to Falkirk and Inverness, Caledonian Thistle, but this is kind of the cup final. You would think that whoever wins this is won the Scottish Cup. Hopefully it's us for 2 years in a row, because we've not been as successful in the Scottish Cup as I would like to have us been as.
No, I don't. I agree. I do agree. I think this is pretty much the cup final, and again, I don't mean in any disrespectful way to that. If you think of what the split of the crowd will be, what we're going to get about. What do we get now? Like 22,000. So we'll get at least 35,000, I would imagine, if we were to get to the final. Yeah. So it's going to be pretty much a home tie, but at Hampden. You would like to think that it would mean that you would go on and you're definitely favourites for the final. So this is it. That Sunday is everything for this season. In terms of being a Rangers fan, we purely and simply have to win it. That's I know we always say that about every Old Firm game that we enter and every cup game that we enter, and we joke all the time and say that we expect Rangers to win every game. If this team have got anything about them and they've got anything about wanting to prolong their stay at this club and prove a point to themselves, to the manager, to us as fans, probably the most importantly is to prove the point to us as fans, then you have a chance to salvage something from this season. You have a chance to show that we should be considering ourselves as a kind of possibility for winning the league next year. This is your chance to lay the marker down. So, I mean, it's really in the players' hands right now. There's not much more we can do as fans, and I'm sure we'll go. Of course, we're going to be there in our thousands, and we'll cheer the team on as hard as we can and as much as we can. But they have to respond. They really have to respond, and they have to know this time that the second best thing won't do. It won't do. It's not going to wash with a lot of people. This is make or break for your season. You have to go there and you have to win it. It's as pure and simple as that. Whether they will or not, time will tell. Time will tell. But it's one of the most must-win games that I can remember in a long time. And I know that sounds bizarre because I probably said that about a month ago when we did a podcast. But we have to win it on Sunday. There's just no other way about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the win that game, or we lose that game, if we lose that game, then the season's done before May even starts. It's as simple as that. We've not done enough. It's been a very poor season. There's frustration through all of us, every person that listened to all the comments from the viewers and like that. It's not going to be great, but it will be great because where are we going for 10 minutes? Let's go for the referee, Alistair. You kind of mentioned him there, Willie Collum. Do you think that's a serious thing? I don't mind. Willie Collum kind of makes it a wee bit about him, but I don't think he's that bad a referee compared to some of the others in Scotland.
Nah, he's the best of a bad bunch, probably. Let's be honest about it. It is a bit of the Willie Collum show at times. He likes to be the centre of attention, but the referee will not dictate what happens to us on Sunday. We've got VAR there, and I know folk in the comments will jump in and go, aye, but VAR didn't give us a goal against Parkhead, and we should have rightfully so had a goal, but you'd like to think after that big decision they'll be looking at VAR. Well, I say that now, but you never know. But the referee, I don't think, will be the issue if we do come out as losers on Sunday, Scotia. It's down to this team. It's not down to who's the middle of the park refereeing it. It's down to the players that go into that park. Scotia, I've heard them on press conferences and stuff, and I know they can't say anything else, that they're going to respond, they're going to show us that they owe us a performance. I've heard it time and time again, and I know they can't say anything else but that, but it's time to show us, Rangers. It really is time to show us in the park. We're all going there, like I said the last podcast on Tuesday, Scotia. We're all going there, and if we're being really truthful to ourselves, we're going there in hope more than anything, to be honest, because they don't fill us with confidence. I did say last week I can't really put an argument up for them going this Sunday in terms of coming out with a positive result, and I hope they can prove me wrong. Like you say, there's players there, Scotia, that are going to be leaving in the summer. This is, and a lot of podcasts have went for it. It's the one last dance, if you want to say, these players have to prove us wrong, and to go out in not a high, but to go if they fail again, Scotia, they'll just be remembered as that group of players that continually failed us. I know they won 55. I know they got to a European final next season, but this is a chance for them to prove to us that they do have it. And they do. See, when Rangers are on song, Scotia, and we've seen it, we had a good footballing team, but we've not seen it enough this season. They just need to show belief for me on Sunday. And I thought they showed it at Parkhead. Just individual mistakes cost us. But if we can cut that out, Scotia, and play our game and take it to Celtic, we've got as good a chance. And if we come up short on Sunday, but we give everything in the park, I can accept that as a Rangers fan. But that's what I'm asking for. The minimum is the effort for Rangers on Sunday. So, as I always say, Scotia, it's over to them. I can give my support in the stands like you and Carney, but I can't put that ball in the back of the net from where I am. So it's over to those players to finally show me. Sorry, I went a wee bit long there.
No, that's all right. We always enjoy it, Alistair. We always enjoy it. No, Carney, Ali makes a good point there that there's a few players in this that's the squad thing. We said this a couple of seasons ago as well, actually. But this is end of an era kind of stuff for a certain few players.
Yeah, well, I've mentioned that a million times, mate, that the cycle of this team's almost went full circle again when it got to the end of it the last time. This is a last chance for a lot of them, and I think there's a lot that some players will be aware that they're leaving. I don't think there's any doubt. I think they'll know that they're leaving, but it's still time to leave your mark on this team, to leave your mark on the fans. Make yourself a hero's maybe a stronger word, but make sure you're remembered fondly, because I can't really say hero, because if we were going for a treble, then I would be saying you could make yourself a hero, but just winning the Scottish Cup unfortunately doesn't make you a hero. At Ibrox, it's pure and simply not enough just to win the Scottish Cup. We all know that. But there is many of them that there's many of them that have the chance to prove that they should be here next season. Players like Tillman, players like Lundstrom, players like Davis if he starts. I mean, even people would say even Barisic and Tav have got the the opportunity to show that they deserve to be here. In terms of like Kent and Morelos, who again I both of them expect to start, I still think both of them are leaving, but there's a massive chance for the other ones to really show that they deserve to be here, and to really put in a performance in, because so far this season it's been considerably lacking against Celtic. So I'm interested to see, don't get me wrong, of course I'm interested to see what happens and what lineup he goes with and how these players approach it. I just know Ali's famous saying, and I'll know in the first 10.
Well, to be fair, he's very rarely wrong.
No, I know I know. I don't like saying Ali's right ever about anything, but no, he's very rarely wrong with the first 10 thing. Early goal in the second half to kill it, that's my favourite as well.
Well, you segued that brilliantly too, because we haven't had our scores yet. So, Ali, you can give us your score for the game on Sunday. 1:30 kickoff.
Is a 1:30 kickoff. Let's go out positive. I know I said a lot of us are going there, myself included, not filled with confidence, but let's end up positive. Rangers, 2-1 Rangers. And I think it'll be done in the 90 Scotia. I don't think it'll go to extra time. I think we'll score first too, or I hope we score first. I need to score first.
So no Scott Wright coming on to kind of save the day like last time. Scott Arfield on the last time as well.
Potentially. I'm going 2-1 in 90 minutes, Scotia. And my first goal scorer is going to be Malik Tillman.
Big Malik, you know.
Yep.
Right. Carney, giving us any improvement in that 2-1?
It's imperative that Rangers score first. We cannot concede in the first 10-15 minutes of this match. If we do, we all know the story. Rangers can't. They are going to come out flying, absolutely flying. And I don't want to be able to try and contain them and almost try too hard to stop letting them score. I know that sounds absolutely bizarre, but in my head it makes sense. Rangers we have to try and steamroller them the way they'll try and steamroller us. I think it could be frantic if Rangers are up for it. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that Celtic will be up for it. So Rangers really have to be on it from the start. We have to score first, as far as I'm concerned. Maybe if we got to half time at nothing each, maybe then okay. But the same thing applies going into the second half for me as well. We can't concede first. It doesn't matter what happens. We cannot concede the first goal. So on that, I think Rangers will score first, and I think it will be 2 each after 90 minutes, and I think we'll win it. I think we'll win it 3-2 in extra time, and I think
Peter Lovenkran's going to win it.
I think, Peter Lovenkran's going to win it, and I think, why the hell not? Ravi Matondo will score the winner to make it 3-2 to Rangers. I don't know. I honestly don't know, mate. It's hard to try and predict this one. I would love to see Rangers win it in 90 minutes, because anything more than that's not good for my health. But I don't know. I really don't know. It all depends what Rangers team show up. But I still believe Rangers can do it. But the right attitude, the right mentality, the right desire, the right application, all the words that you like, the hunger for it has to be there from the start. If we're there and we're at it and we give everything, I think we've got a chance. But it's all about the players' attitudes now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with what you're saying there. But the main thing for me is Rangers need to be clinical. Rangers be clinical, then Rangers will win. That's the way I look at it, because that would been happened the last couple of games that we've played Celtic, because we aren't and they are. That's where we're sitting. I'm going to go for an uber confident. I've seen Curry Muncher put up a 5-1 to Rangers with a Sakala hat trick. It's not going to be that, but I'm no far away. The madness that Curry Muncher's doing. I'm going to go for a 4-2 victory to Rangers. Don't know if it'll be. I'm not choosing whether it'll be an extra time or whatever. Just go 4-2 Rangers, and first goal scorer. Let's go for a wee Todd Cantwell first goal scorer for me. Yeah, so that's us just about our mark, guys. Thank you to all the listeners. First of all, we'd also like to thank our guest, Mr. Alistair Pearson.
No problem. Yes, the build-up now begins to Sunday. I will see you lads on Sunday. I don't know what we're doing before the game yet, but I'm sure we'll discuss off-air what we're doing. But yeah, I think I said my spiel on the team, what they need to do. Carney said exactly what Ryan harps on to his boys at football all the time. Desire, application, everything like that. That's a minimum if you want to be a Rangers player going forward. If they can show that and they can show what we know they've got in them, Scotia, they're good football players. They're a good football team with their own song. We have as much a chance to go through to the final of the Scottish Cup. But as I say always on this podcast, Scotia, it is over to you, Rangers.
Indeed it is, and also thank you to Mr. Podfather himself. This podcast would not be here without him. It's Mr. Scott Carney.
Yeah, cheers, Scotia. Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think people appreciate our honesty in terms of the way we feel about things, but I think there's not many fans that don't feel the way that we do just now about going into this. It's a nervy one. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's an absolute nervy one. But as I said before, if we show up and we do everything that we possibly can, then there's every chance. You never know. One of those ones that you never know. You actually never know. But it's time that we get one over in them. It really is, and Sunday's the best opportunity to do so. So I hope your team wins ever so much on Sunday. I really do, and you have a fantastic bank holiday weekend. And I hope that you're seeing our very, very happy faces on Sunday after the match. Cheers for all the nations. Cheers for the new members as well tonight. Really do appreciate it. So I'm stealing Ali's lines here. No, we are the people. Always will be. Let's go Rangers.
Yes, thank you, Carney. And with that, we will give you a little promise for the weekend. Carney, take it away.
What's the little... Oh, right. I was wondering what you were talking about, but you're obviously talking about the intro music. I was like, what are you talking about? Actually, yeah.
Oh, well, that went down well.
That went down. Good night, everybody.